This is the Trinidad and Tobago National Commission for UNESCO, the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, of which Trinidad and Tobago has been a member for more than 40 years. Its regional and international profile.
Now, UNESCO has a very interesting and unique arrangement. They work through the national commissions. The commissions are a key partner to UNESCO and a very important mechanism to bring the mandate, the focus, the priorities of UNESCO to the national realities and to address concerns that are relevant to Trinidad. Our collaboration with the National Commission has taken many forms. We meet regularly. We participate in events convened by the National Commission. For the past 2 years, the National Commission is invited to be part of our monthly meetings. We have a number of new areas of cooperation now with the new government that had been elected last year in 2010. Under the People's Partnership, the UN system is focusing on two broad areas. One is to continue to collaborate in the achievement of the Millennium Development Goals, particularly goal number 1 on equality and jobs, but in the case of UNESCO, in terms of improving the quality of education here in this country. The other area that we decided to collaborate as the UN system and the government of Trinidad and Tobago is on the production, analysis, and dissemination of social statistics. Social statistics means data on population, on education, on health, or employment, or income, and how the country is progressing over the years in improving the lives of all Trinidadians and Tobagonians, not only for this generation, but for future generations to come.
Over the years, the GRULAC, which includes both Latin America and the Caribbean, was dominated by the Latin American group, largely because the countries are larger, they have more influence, they have higher profiles internationally. And in addition, the Caribbean states came into UNESCO not as a bloc, but in single file, so to speak, as they attained independence at different dates, so that their presence was incremental rather than a bloc presence. And during the period that I represented Trinidad and Tobago on the board between 1993 and 1997, we took on frontally the matter of a quota of representation for the Caribbean within the Group 3, the GRULAC group. And so there may have been changes since that, but the importance of it was that the Caribbean was guaranteed representation within the GRULAC, which it did not have before that date. Before that date, there was always a struggle, and you had to depend on goodwill of Latin American countries to give you a seat at all. And for many years, it was only 1 or 2 Caribbean countries that sat. So that was one of the major contributions that Trinidad and Tobago was able to make at the level of the executive board.
In order to maximize the benefits of its membership in UNESCO, Trinidad and Tobago over the years through the National Commission has had representation on UNESCO's executive board, firstly by Sheila Solomon and subsequently by Professor Lawrence Carrington. Professor Courtney Bartholomew was also the country's representative on UNESCO's International Bioethics Committee. There has been representation on UNESCO's Information Society Program for Latin America and the Caribbean, the World Federation of UNESCO Clubs, the International and Regional Memory of the World Committees, and currently there is representation on UNESCO's Committee for the Management of Social Transformation.
It was really wonderful to see nationals placed in certain positions within UNESCO. Nationals were on several bodies of UNESCO. We saw things grow organically from a national on the International Memory of the World body, Edwina Peters. Then we had a national, Margaret Rouse-Jones, on the regional body of Memory of the World. And now Trinidad and Tobago has its own Memory of the World Committee, with at least 9 listings. That is the strength of UNESCO.
I was a member of InfoLac, which is the Information and Communications group within Latin America and the Caribbean in UNESCO. And I became president because our Caribbean votes. I worked with the Memory of the World Committee in its early days, trying to get a Memory of the World Committee established. In fact, I think I did the first cabinet note for the establishment of that. Memory of the World records and recognizes important collections, important heritage sites, that kind of thing. And in Trinidad and Tobago, we have several which have been placed on the register of UNESCO's Memory of the World. For instance, the Eric Williams collection at the UWI, the Derek Walcott collection, and recently there have been a few more which have been put on. So the Memory of the World Collection Committee is an important committee which really needs to be supported thoroughly because it brings our important collections to the notice of the world, and it's very important that that kind of activity is promoted. In fact, I think that UNESCO, Trinidad and Tobago should be represented on all the committees of UNESCO because that is a way that we can benefit from our membership.
MOST, which is really an acronym for Management of Social Transformations, the work of UNESCO in Trinidad and Tobago. And what is this MOST about? It is about the promotion of research-based policy development. It's about providing dialogue, providing a space to talk about transformations in the area of social policy, social development, social research internationally. And it's also about developing research networks in particular developing countries.